side, that's good.
Tim's back.
Oh, is he?
Oh, good.
A little bit.
What was his schedule? Can you tell by that? Can you tell by the schedule? How many?
No.
How much?
Was he just gonna be halftime or something like that?
April 2nd, 4 hours. April sick leave, 8 hours, April vacation
I
time.
think
Donated 20 hours, I take out that
He
back.
hasn't come back yet, he's coming back in the middle of the month.
I just looked at this,
Yeah.
then when I open it, I see it.
Yes, it's still around this one.
That's garden plan?
Well, some potatoes and things. I was gonna put some tomatoes inside, didn't, so it windy, afraid it would cut off before.
It froze last night,
31. Is that what you had, Don? 31?
31 this morning in Sicily.
Really?
That's what I have.
No, mine shows 36.
Do you adjust it?
I accept that. It won't go below 30. That way you can't freeze it.
Makes for a better day, doesn't it?
No, I went out this morning.
Be a relative of Tyler's?
Could be, I guess, I don't know. There's, yeah. There's, I guess I know 3 different apple families in the valley area, so I think they're all related. Bob Apple, Tim's friend, and his sister.
I got a lot of.
You do. Man.
I haven't heard nothing from him just lately, have you?
No, not a thing, not a thing.
Things must be going okay, huh? Should we begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any additions or corrections to the minutes of our April 27th meeting? Is there a motion to approve the minutes and today's agenda? By Faye, is there a second to that? Tom, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have public comment from anyone?
I've got I got a number of calls on the state teacher and all the traffic on 15 on the county roads, which I've seen, they're turning into quite a, chopping them up pretty bad, is what I'm trying to say. I called the state, they said public road.
Sunday I came through there, went to Millbank, I came to Wellmont, turned north, and there's several spots there that are really beat up.
I guess, the 40 years, I've never seen so much traffic on 9, and then they go up on 34, trying to get around, but the state didn't seem to pass from it
I see that they're, for the detour north, they got, the sign says go south. Well, where do they, how far south do they go before they go west again?
down the Highway 12, 10 miles, or 8 miles, the 12 coming by some.
And then get back on I-29 up that way.
But if anybody gone to the lake or coming into Wilmot, they're gonna,
They come in from the north.
and I guess what I'm saying, that really making a mess out of it. You've seen it now.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
did.
Yeah, and then roads were just pretty good, but now, I mean, it's every truck, I mean, tankers and everything coming, going.
Yeah, well, they would have been over the limits too, wouldn't they? Is it?
That's the road limits now and stuff,
No, they're off, but
but yeah, before, I mean, but I guess that's, you know, they put something in there, but yeah, like 34 up there.
There's gotta be at least a dozen breakups on that stretch from Wilmot to.
I think he's working now on that south of Summit on 27 with the wind towers, you know, they broke that up pretty bad. I got number called on that too. But they're gonna reimburse, I think, the wind towers.
That one should be.
what if we put up signs, had Pat put up signs that said local traffic only? Put that out there.
And I did
I've
see
seen that
some of
before.
Some guy in Dual County, my sister's kids' wedding Saturday, and I did see local traffic only, but somebody with police said, I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to write tickets, so they're just gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
But I think,
Is the damage done, or are they gonna continue to get worse? Is this going on to, what, November?
well, wait, yeah, November's when it's supposed to be done, but look at all the lake traffic coming down or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, ethanol's gonna start hauling up a bunch more come summer months.
You know? Yep. I'm just trying to see that it's, I was gonna be a way over a bunch, keep letting them come.
How many miles are affected? Would you have any idea? I mean, they're getting ripped up.
Three,
First of the month.
that'd be 9, and then if they go up 34, I don't know how many miles.
So if you had to repair every mile, we don't even have enough money to do that
No,
in our normal budget. And you'd have to ignore every other road in the county.
that's what I tried telling that guy in Wire calling him Pat. I mean, Pat might talk to us about it.
I just happened to see it.
Suggest we meet with him or something. I'd be willing to meet with him and meet him.
Yeah.
And they're doing Grand County, I mean, South Millbank, that's all.
Because you got it, okay.
And now the interstate,
Sorry.
nobody wants to come this way because the interstate.
Right, ripped up.
The valley.
That's a 5-mile stretch from that intersection north to that next intersection.
Oh. Out of Walmart, and when they go over, they come down 15 and go up to 26 and over, get on 9 and then come back around.
Hello, Angie.
Morning.
Good morning, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm just here to ask for permission to go to the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs Annual Benefit School. It's from August 16th through the 18th, which is shorter than it usually is. And about the price it should cost is $387.52.
And I think that is mandatory by state statute. Yeah, you have to go.
Yes.
I mean, you have to have a really good excuse to get out of there.
Yes, yes.
Where's it located at?
Here,
Here?
South Dakota.
Where else?
Deadwood.
Yeah.
You know, they tried to make it in the middle for everyone since the whole state.
Makes sense, yeah.
So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. There's a motion by Commissioner Sample to approve the expenses. Is there a second to that, like Fay? Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Motion carried.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Getting back.
Remember, veterans, she's doing a good job.
Is this better on?
was odd seeing everybody's mouth.
God dang, for over a year.
I don't know, I started using a CPAP last fall, and it just like, I mean, it feels like you're being more restrictive than helping you breathe.
And I think I strangled myself. I flopped around so much I couldn't. I was on the head.
I know, like,
You're forced to lay your back there.
usually about 4 or 4:30, I'm taking it off, so, yeah, it's,
You sleep better though after you have it on.
I don't think so. The only advantage is my wife quit complaining about my snoring.
I stopped listening to that years ago.
You moved up out of the basement now, didn't you?
During the COVID thing, I moved to the basement.
Yeah, you no longer got COVID, so you're back upstairs.
Yeah.
Well, until he starts snoring again, then you go right upstairs.
Then you go back down.
Yeah, that's probably where I should have moved to.
She doesn't seem too tough today. I met you on the road, she's smiling anyway.
I sent you guys those, Zoom, a couple of those Zoom meetings. I'm planning on going on to that, about the medical marijuana.
Okay.
That'd be a good thing, I think, see what other people are doing, and see what we gotta do, or what we could do.
Well, First Planning District sent a whole packet out of like a resolution type thing. If you guys feel that you want to go and do that, I know Sherry is planning on going on to that meeting also.
What, on this, one you sent us on medical marijuana, it's a one attachment, was there further information?
No, there is, but I didn't send everything.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've got a whole packet like this, so I,
Did it come as a, I think it came as an attachment to an email?
yes,
It came
so I
up.
can just send that out.
Could you get name of
I was thinking that I read it, but I don't know.
Well, I read, you know, the pages, 5 pages that you sent between the highway superintendent and Mac.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, so I didn't think it was a whole nother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's probably more important our state's attorney gets those things than us.
It's symbolic, it doesn't mean it.
I'll send you the attachments.
The US Constitution
And then you
is
can-
the precedent, so we say, well, I think their concern is that US Congress is gonna pass some gun legislation that locals don't want to abide by, so there's no, and there's no critical. So
Fat passion, we can't.
you can be a sanctuary plan and say, we're, basically, they're saying that we're not going to enforce the law.
So they'll come and go ahead.
Oh, sure.
That's what I thought.
And the liability problem is that if you, let's suppose they passed a law that said you can't have a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. And something, you say, okay, well, we're gonna be a sanctuary plan, so we're not gonna enforce that. And somebody goes out and breaks in someplace with a magazine that holds 20 rounds and shoots people, this is what if it was illegal by the law, we didn't enforce it. So now we're liable. We are.
Well, see, they seen, the ones I got, seem to think they don't push the guns away.
I don't think NRA will ever get my power to overrule the NRA for that.
They're bankrupt now.
NRA?
Neither would the governor.
No.
I guess I'll admit that they come along.
There's, you know, there's some things they could do to help, but it's, you know, who abides by the law?
The good guys.
Those are the people who are dying from the first place. You know, if you're a criminal or
It ain't-
you're mentally incapable, you're gonna abide by whatever law it is, so it's supposed to doesn't affect them anyway.
I look at it, I've got my gun, and they're saying, you want us get drugged, you're gonna get drugged anyway, I mean, so if they want a gun, they're gonna get a gun, you know.
It's not gonna take guns out of the hands of criminals.
The thing they get drugged is what I even know. No, I just,
I mean, we're talking background checks and stuff. You know, if you discover someone who's a convicted felon who's not supposed to have a gun, don't tell them, I can understand that.
no, I'll go on.
You can check my background all they want, I don't care.
Yeah, that's it, I just got mine renewed because of permit, and they gave it to me, so I don't know. How much have you coming up, or you renewed
It's
it?
expired. I think I was gonna renew it. I thought, why, you don't need a permit anymore in South Dakota. And I never carried it concealed anyhow, so I just wanted it because I wanted it.
Very concealing.
But then normally just trying to pass a law, I think, that would allow you to register for a concealed permit online.
Online, yeah, I see that.
And the argument was, well, you don't even need a permit in South Dakota, so why would you even have that battle?
I don't know.
Except to appease the NRA. Hope to get some more funding, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be allowed to do it online. Right now, you have to do it through the sheriff's office, and I think they at least have some say in it, you know, if they know somebody.
Sure.
Online.
Yeah, a local guy, yeah, if you know he's got some issues.
I agree, like Thompson, like Facebook said, go to sheriff's office, at least they can look it up and that online.
Well, that was interesting that she was in favor of doing away with the necessity to conceal permits. And she did that. You want to go on the Capitol and
Yeah,
say, well, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
absolutely, but it never is.
No,
See, we got approved, did you read that article about bridge approval in the paper, Watertown paper?
I didn't see it.
Well, it was confusing because it said, whatever, 4 counties were approved, and it said one in Roberts, and then another one, and just like a sentence later, it said 2 in Roberts. So I don't know if we got approved for 3 bridges or 2 bridges. Yeah, that was that last go around, so that's good news, I guess. We get funding for that next year.
Was that supposed to happen at 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
I remember that,
You did what?
ripped the heat out and then think we needed it, ripped.
Oh, ripped it up.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay. Yeah, Angie does such a good job, she even gets customers from Marshall County.
Really? I know a lot of Grand County people have called and said,
I'll pass this resolution around for the highway. I had sent it to Pat, and he thought it looked okay, but I want you guys to, sorry, Tim. That's regarding the stop sign up there,
Okay.
and I was kind of unsure how that right one up, I guess. That's modeled after one that we did 2013.
Should it say that stop signs being implemented in one direction to be taken off in the other, or is that not actually the case? One direction you can't drive through, I understand, but
Yeah, but do we, I don't know, do we need a resolution to remove one?
Because on County Road 25, were you guys planning on doing a yield sign there?
No, removing the stop signs,
Yeah, on,
going east and west.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Coming up to it, that'd be a stop.
I'm coming from Hammer,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go to the Sorolls. I need to stop there,
Right,
and then I can go.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the intent, so.
I wasn't real sure, you know.
Is it a four-way stop there now?
No.
Two in the other
it's just-
direction.
It's just a stop sign east and west on 25 and 14 coming from the south, which is a dead end right now because it's underwater. It has no stop sign. It makes no sense. This should be a through traffic.
But should they have a stop sign? How many people don't fall out in front of somebody or not?
Well, if there's a stop sign then coming up from 14, well, you know, it's 25 runs this way and 14 runs here, and then it's underwater here. And right now, there's a stop sign here and here. But make, in this case,
I'm just wondering so they don't pull out.
yeah, so we want to put a stop sign here and take these out.
Oh, okay, yeah,
This would be-
yeah.
This would be the three.
everybody loves it.
Put one on.
Right, that's what this is
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
Put out 14.
Okay, now
Take one's out on 25.
When I was growing up there always, I never remember, there was never a stop signs on County Road 25.
you just never stopped at them. They were always there.
Our bus never stopped there.
He was always late.
That was, you know. I don't remember them.
I was gonna say, I don't remember 14, when we go down that big, that water is right there, right?
Yeah, you go around the,
They got a detour, they rubber around the water.
Is that the one where you get on the other side that's North Dakota?
Yeah, well,
No.
that's still underwater.
Okay.
this was the one where the county did, we had to build a road around in Cecil Salmon's field because the water.
Well, I guess I can't remember that, yeah.
I think Roger was superintendent at that time when we had to build that county road around, or.
Yeah, I think I know where you're at now,
Yeah.
you know, okay.
So this is to put a stop sign on 14.
Correct.
Here's, see, they build a road around that.
Yeah, okay,
And then this is where we want to put the stop sign, because right now there's a stop sign here and here
Yeah.
on 25.
Mm-hmm, okay,
And then when you're talking, then this is underwater.
yeah, okay.
And they wanna put one on there, on 14.
Yeah, we're gonna put one right here,
Yeah.
and then take these two out.
We'll just recut it.
Unless you just wanted to mention you're gonna pull those two stop signs out.
I don't know if we need, I don't know what's required, if you remove it.
You have to ask Pat, I guess I sent this out to him and Cammy said it was fine. So maybe you wanna visit with him.
Yeah, well,
And I didn't know, to make it effective May 15th, I thought, give the highway a little time to get out there too, so.
Is Glenn still planning on coming, you know?
I don't know, he was, they're so busy over there.
Yeah.
He didn't say that he wasn't.
Okay.
Things ain't stalled up any, you know?
Bring that.
Well, I mean,
I suppose all those buses that the sheriff made, all these guys must be running through the system, all those meth buses, maybe.
see there was one down there. The girl, 3 women got caught down by Watertown on the road.
They're not denying it away. Well, I guess that's been, they was older, I mean, when teenagers would be, I mean, that's right.
It's surprising the age group
Yeah, that's what
of
it's.
a lot of these people.
You see a lot of them in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
One of them was 60, wasn't it?
I think she was, yeah.
40, 50, and 60, yeah.
Wow. Makes it easy for the cops to catch, they can't run very fast.
Well, they ended up putting spikes down to get them.
That was the one, huh? I heard something about that. Is that a stolen vehicle or was that?
Yeah, it was one from Sioux Falls, wasn't it?
Okay.
It's on the phone name.
We're gonna hear from Lori Mullen then?
You're supposed to.
She the one that made the appointment?
Sandy Lysette made it.
Sandy? Okay.
Just for your information, that papers that were filed last week on me and Kim was involved, I sent those to our insurance. First I sent it to the pool, and then they also said that I should send it to Russell Insurance. So I talked to Noel up there and I sent the paperwork off. I've had contact from both attorneys and both insurances. Being it was back when we had EMC insurance. So I dealt with Scott and Drew and EMC.
And you're all protected through that insurance, right, liability or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it.
Yeah, but we've got 2 different insurance companies and 2 different people working. And then being the city is also in on the pool, and they were on the pool when this, when he alleged all this happened, then they're all working together.
Okay, good.
It's, yeah.
Against one, one, be a third.
And I'm gonna go online. Right now, the spring workshop is going on in here today and tomorrow. But I'm gonna go online after They record everything. That's, I'll give you information that way for our office. There wasn't a whole lot on there, but now some of this stuff's coming out, the medical marijuana. and
Sure,
that type of thing. But they'll still keep in contact with us.
That's going to be a hot topic for a number of months.
Well, South Dakota's here.
Oh, okay. Have to remind me, Don.
It was almost easier sometimes to have them on in the office, because now, you don't have them on, and then you're gonna go to another office.
How many times you pull up someplace in your
That's
car?
right,
There you go, that's why.
Yeah.
These things.
I did that today, I got
Start
to the
walking.
stairs and I turn over and I got my mask. Come on in,
Yeah.
come on in, yeah.
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good.
The chair.
Okay, glasses on or off?
I know.
Yeah, yeah. that's-
Yeah. Yeah.
A little cool out today.
It'd be nice this afternoon, I think up in the mid-50s. To me, that's about perfect, but.
Oh. Mid-90s works for me.
I couldn't do that ever.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Let's see what you have for us. This.
Yeah, just want to say thank you for your support and just give you a little update on some of the things that Grow South Dakota has been doing in that area and Woodland Valley. So when we look at the spreadsheet here, it basically gives you an idea of the investment that the organization puts into the county, and some of it is annually, so our housing loans and our business loans are annual amounts. The activities as far as emergency services would be, 108 families or units were assisted in the last year. Food boxes, we are the distributor for that, for this area. We are seeing a decline in that right now, just because I think the prevalence of so much food being available right now. But typically, we have around 50 boxes or so. Governor's House, there were 3 of them in the last year that were in Roberts County placed. Home improvement, 8 units or 8 people were served. And then, of course, the business and housing lending activity is pretty well known in the area, so we have quite a bit of activity in that area. We do have right now down payment, closing costs, and direct lending for housing available. And then also for the business lending, we also have quite a bit of funding available for that. So, and that could be new startup or expanding or developing existing businesses.
What's your interest rate average on, something like that?
So on the business lending, it's right around 3%. Again, depending on what source of funds that we have available. The housing lending right now is at 5% and is at a 7-year balloon. So typically we're probably the lender in a gateway situation, so they're not fitting the conventional realm, meaning most of them are self-employed, or they have not been in their current employment for over a year or 2 years, so
they might have transferred from one place to another. Just some of those non-typical loans that we're seeing. Or new loans, rural properties, which are over the 5 or 2 acre first time home buyer limitations, so seeing some of that. We do have quite a bit of emergency assistance available for rental and home ownership for people who were affected by COVID. So, and we can go all the way back to March of 2020 and pay rent or utilities or mortgage payments. So if they were affected, if their income was affected or their household was affected where they had a loss of income.
And did you see much of that, or you said no?
It is substantial.
It is, okay. Okay.
We are actually partnering with the state, so the CAP agencies are helping them to administer the funds that they received. They received $9 million last year, and I believe, and I'm not sure what it is, but I think it is close to that again this year. So, right now, the only new money that they have this year is for rental, but we will be seeing home ownership or mortgage assistance available. That should be coming. We don't have the rules and regulations all finalized on that piece. But there is some money left over from last year for homeowners, so if there is somebody that needs it, we can use that old money. Income guidelines, last year we were at 115%. This year it's at 80%. So unfortunately, it's we're missing a gap there for those that do have need that are just over that need. We also do pre and post purchase counseling and rental counseling. So if you have landlords that you know of that would like to have their tenants go through some counseling on how to take care of the units, we would certainly be open to doing that. We do financial literacy counseling, which in today's world is always essential, regardless of what our age is, to get some of those. Board members we have are Debbie Anderson, and then for the NESCAP board, and then for NESDEC is David Gleason. We have about 14 staff that reside in Roberts County. Our full staff is about 25. So we have some that live outside of Roberts County. And we do facilitate the roundtable here in Sisseton, and then also we're part of the Sisseton Area Health Network with CDP and IHS, the school system. There's several different organizations involved with that regarding the health of the community in the area. We would certainly appreciate your support. Every dollar that we get, we can leverage with our federal fundings. And it just helps us also to know that we're located in the community and we have the support of the county. Do you have any questions for me or thoughts or any way that we can work if you have constituents that you know that need assistance or even if just have questions? Be sure to send them our way.
Yeah, the 3 homes that you built in town was a wonderful stroke of business for filling up those vacant lots. We're hearing equalization. It's that time of the year now, and Bill Rice made some comments about the property tax structure for the community prohibits a lot of development and stuff like that. And one of his comments were, well, if you have that house outside of the city limits, the taxes are half. Well, I don't think they're quite that cheap, but they are substantially less. Has Grow considered doing development outside of the city limits for that reason at all?
No, we haven't.
Uh-huh.
Again, it goes back to capital. You
Uh-huh.
know, what kind of capital do we have available in order to do that? And the turnaround on that capital, I mean, so the houses that we did build, we thought would turn around quickly, and yet it was over a year before they were sold.
Mhm.
So if there were people who would come in and say, I'm qualified for X amount, and I want a house in this area, we may consider being like the general contractor or, you know, oversight on that. The challenge comes when I build a house to my liking, may not be to yours, to somebody else's. So that's where we come into some of those areas. Hoping, because we are getting a lot of requests on what are we seeing here. And South Dakota right now is seeing a substantial shortage in housing stock. And especially in the urban areas is one thing, because you have developers and you have contractors that is their ballgame. But it's lacking in the rural areas, in our smaller communities that still need housing stock, as well as the cost to build now is higher. And then even when we look at renovating our existing housing stock to make it suitable, the cost of that is higher. And then to come in with an appraisal that's going to meet that cost is just difficult right now. So we certainly, you know, if the capital were available, we would probably have that discussion.
Mhm.
And or if there were, you know, people that would be interested in building,
Mhm.
you know, they could certainly come and discuss that with us. But, you know, the one thing that the city has for it is the infrastructure.
Mhm.
And in any development, that seems to be a huge piece of the price tag when you're doing development. You know, if there are ways that the county can help offset some of that, you know, whether it's you get the materials at a lesser price, or you know, if there's a special tax assessment or even a tip that may potentially be considered but there again, any developer that's going to do those TIP have to be aware of who's going to be building there and make sure that they have, you know, enough to fill those lots. If I go out and develop for 20 acres or 20 lots and only have 2 people interested, it's probably not, you know, really the right avenue. Not to say that more won't come, but it's just, those are just questions that always have to be asked and addressed whenever we look at that development piece. I would love to see that. You know, I really would. I think Sisseton absolutely has a need, and not just Sisseton, but our rural communities. Wilmot, I'm sure, could use it. You know, and New Eppington could certainly use, you know, good quality housing stock for their community. But it's just that capital. So, like I said, we're getting asked from National, what's the need, what's the challenges. So we're, you know, letting them know, hopefully they'll hear us and provide that funding source for us.
Do you have anything for Lori?
Appears you're filling a big need already, so I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and, you know, again, because we're located in here, Roberts County typically gets a majority of the funds just because we're well known here.
Sure.
So, and that's part of our marketing too, is to ensure that other communities are aware of the services that we have available. I can leave these. These are just samples of some of the pamphlets. I guess I can leave that with you, Dawn. Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, appreciate
Thanks a
your
million
time.
for coming in, Lori, and
And
all the
if
work that you do down there.
That million or $10-20 million, you just don't know what to do with it. Thank you.
Thank Thanks, bye. Morning, Dylan.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I got a couple things I need to get through here this morning. First of all, that agreement that you gave me a copy of last week with the Game Fish and Parks for that section of the road. I did talk to the guy that drafted the agreement. I, for the life of me, cannot remember his name right now. I have his email. I talked to him about that paragraph B1 where you guys were wondering about the satisfactory completion inspection, that language. His understanding when he put that together was that the park supervisor and the county highway superintendent would be the ones to view the job at the end to determine what satisfactory meant as far as the job. If you want, I can talk to him again. I'll take basically this document, put in a little clerical language, propose it to him, and then see where we go from there.
Can you delete the part about agreeing to maintain it to their standards? I mean, the inspection after the work is done is fine, but
Yeah,
we
and then
don't
I
wanna,
asked him that,
Yeah.
and he said that, at least preliminarily speaking, he said that language in A3 could be deleted as far as that, just saying that the county will maintain the road.
To its normal standards.
Well, I'll just leave it at the county. will
Okay,
maintain the
sure,
road.
even better, yeah, even better.
So I will get back into contact with him probably next week, as I'm gone this evening through the end of the week for the States Attorney's Conference. Second thing, now that it has been a few months since Kay's retirement, I have a notice and resolution here appointing her as a special deputy going forward. You guys want to discuss that any further, but here's the draft resolution for that. The notice of appointment, I will give a copy to Bob and a copy to the clerks if the resolution is approved.
And don't be afraid to use her.
this is pretty much the same as what we had.
It's the same thing that I did with Victor.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the same thing. They'll serve under my direction, and it'll be for cases when needed.
yeah.
And I'm asking for this for Kay, as jury trials are going to begin again this month. I have never done one. I will need someone with sage experience and knowledge on how to do that, at least for my first couple, and some of the bigger cases that I have going on, that I'll need a second chair anyway.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.
Can we act on that today?
Yes.
Okay. We'll get it on the table.
And then the last thing that I have for you guys will need to go into executive session for litigation.
Okay. Motion to approve that?
Motion by Carlson to approve 2020 dash whatever that's going to end up being.
2021.
2021, yeah, thank you for correcting me.
We're going into executive.
Is there a second? Miguel, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Is there a motion for executive session?
Yep.
Example, to discuss legal matters. Second by Carlson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Morning, Cal. Can I slide these in here and make a copy? Okay. Can I just push start, or is that like someone says? Okay. Awesome. What? What do you want? Money? Well, you told me the wrong place.
No, I didn't. I got notice that you had it.
Okay, there you go. That's the two I got.
Okay, she wants copies of stuff here, I guess.
Good deal. I wish to, you know, make it more.
Oh, what I mean, we should make it in the right pockets, too.
Exactly. Oh, shit. Big sheets, yeah. I'm getting big ones down. Stamp right away. I can stamp too. The stamp forgot today's date.
Things have slowed down a little bit in particular.
Yeah.
Gosh.
For being retired, doesn't mean anything.
No.
You know, between that and working on this benefit for Katie, and now Legion of Baseball starting. And my
Oh.
husband's athletic officer for the Legion Team Plus runs the concessions
Oh,
for all the games,
yeah.
you know.
So what happens when you retire is you're busier than ever, you just don't get paid. Morning, Pat.
Morning.
How's it going?
Oh, just peachy.
Yeah, I imagine.
Everybody wants everything done, and damn asphalt plants broke down this morning, so we can't go all week. We're gonna start patching some of the boulder on up north or down south to Summit, and then work our way by Wilmot, and work our way up north. So we're trying to catch up on blading now because of the haul gravel. Every time we haul gravel for 3 days, you get behind and all the blading, you know. But they're going in the hills now, and a lot of these roads are looking fairly good compared to most springs. But that damn spot by your place, God, never cures though.
Never done, you know, it's worse, I'm surprised it's worse this year than it was last year. I didn't have much snow, I thought maybe it would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna cure, but if I had time, I'm gonna go cut that son of a bitch out.
It's-
Cut it out and redo it, put fabric down, maybe that'll keep it from coming back every year, but just don't have time right now to go do that.
Gotta keep the mud from sticking up in.
Yeah, that mud just keeps going up with people dragging it, you know?
Yeah. So it's that 6 mile stretch is odd, but 2 miles from my place
Why is
north,
the Wilmot?
I always kind of south, and from there south, it's pretty, it's
Yeah,
wide,
it's
up
a
the
lot
right at
harder.
the bottom of the hill, but.
When you go farther south on the last mile, sometimes it gets a little south, but then it cures up.
Yeah, cures fast, that piece that's there for a long
I
time.
think it drains better, you know, down there.
You know, when they, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
When they tile
It
the,
should still
on the
be-
east side, that.
I haven't been by there just because I didn't,
Yeah, he really
can't go.
went the ditch, boy, he went lots.
I gotta check into that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I can figure out.
Just opened it up last summer after spending $11 million on it. Huh.
You get that rumor ordered?
Yes, I did. 3 weeks, they said maybe.
When you get that going, I wanna see it.
Oh, yeah, well, definitely, it's supposed to be 2 to 3 weeks. And I ordered carbide right away, but I said, I need that thing, okay, it's gonna be 3 weeks.
Somebody can get it in your.
As soon as we can get it, and we get a little rain, and we go out there when we can do it, when we can, when it rains, it really make
I'd
it.
like, yeah, I'd like to see it work.
But it's an ongoing deal, you know. We're,
Yeah.
Nice for short for you guys now, and just gotta keep going, but.
You need some help waiting for one time or something, so you can free your guys up.
I think we got everything covered already again, that second, third time, but we gotta do every time we go out and start gravel, we get behind, you know, so.
Yeah.
But we're all in the west now, and we're doing good right now, but if we start hauling gravel for another week or so, then, you know, we'll have to wait and see what we can
I can help for one time through or something, and give your guys a break work and something else.
do. We get that groomer, we get the shoulders all done, and we get those stuff brought in, because.
I think we'll be done. She doesn't have very much. This Gordon Nielsen, and I didn't even know.
Much is probably not gonna come
I
in,
don't even
so.
know if we're gonna be going till 1 o'clock, but I thought I better put it on.
I just got supper for Katie and Steve.
Oh, you got a what?
My day to cook for Katie and Stevie.
She was doing a little bit better over the weekend, so that's all.
Well, because I couldn't do the infusion
Yeah.
last Tuesday, so I put her on steroids.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right.
you'll be out of here early.
What's gas doing?
Oh, went up a little bit.
What's gas around here, something, 3 something?
279.
279.
79.
Yeah, I saw in the news, I think a lot of places were 479, it must be California and Hawaii and stuff like that.
California's always.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I remember when the gas ration was going on in California, because we were living out there.
Back in the late 70s, mid 70s, yeah.
Yeah, it was every, you know, you had
Even odd.
Yeah.
even and odd.
Yeah.
Well, I would have self-put plates, so I could go anything.
Really?
Yeah, because we were just living out there temporarily,
Oh, sure,
you know, while
okay.
Dan had us have heart transplant, so.
Nobody stole your license plate, so.
You know, I never even thought about that at that time.
Back then, people didn't do that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, back in the good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the latest on the bridge pad down there on Eastman, where they?
Well, we ran into a little snag down there, they gotta dig more out for the approaches. Because we ran into another layer of asphalt down there, and we didn't really have to put the base course on top of it.
Oh,
So
my.
they gotta dig out another 6 inches or so, and we gotta put a little more class 5 in there. And now it's gonna cost me another $50-some $100 myself, I suppose, because we gotta do them change order, because they gotta dig out more. They gotta put in a little more gravel or base course in there before we get the approaches done.
We still looking towards the end of the month, as the completion date, or?
Yeah, I mean, by next week we'll be pretty close to getting, so we can, you know, get the asphalt down.
Yeah,
And I don't know, it depends on, they got all this week to dig to get that out yet.
Yeah, so-
we're behind a little bit now.
Yeah, but by sure, I don't be, middle to the end of the month, that's still pretty
And
much
some of them
up.
that farm, they can go around and farm and get in that other land if they have to, you know, it's not like they gotta wait for us to get done.
Yeah, no, they want to use the bridge.
Guys, this thing has been, you know, record time.
Oh, yeah, it's gone well, absolutely. Yeah,
I got, fuel quotes for today. I got Viggs lumber is $2.33 for the 1,000-gallon shops. $2.21 for transport that I'm coming with today. $2.69 for ethanol. And then, CHS was $2.38 for the shops, $2.22 for the transport, and $2.59 for the ethanol. And then I got Harms that bid $225.19 on the transport. So Vig's got the transport for 221.3, and CHS got ethanol for 259, and then also Vig's got all the diesel for the shops at 233 also. So Vig's would get the diesel and the transport, and CHS would get the ethanol. So we need a motion on that, but I guess Don's gone and missed it on, but she's got copies of it.
Is there a motion to accept the low bids?
Don is gone, or ain't gone.
Oh. Okay. Well, we got Tim and Tom.
Which wasn't too bad, it didn't go up too much, I mean, far as what was going on, because it's kind of hard to get some of that diesel fuel right now.
The fuel?
Yeah.
Latest thing on the news was that there was a shortage of truck drivers to transport fuel.
Yeah.
Well,
Push prices of oil.
Stilson said he would have to go all the way to Moorhead or somewhere to get fuel, because some of this is hard to get. Might not have it by the end of the day or something, to get it, and go at the end of the day, you wouldn't be able to get it. So I don't know, it's kind of a screwy deal.
Tim made a motion to accept the fuel quotes from Vig's, and then, two of them, and then CHS on the ethanol.
Okay. And who's seconding it?
Tom.
There's, some of the citizens down by Corona were wondering if we could take the 55-mile-an-hour zone off by the intersection north and south where it goes on County Road 11 north to south of, going by Corona, by the county. What it does is it's 55 miles an hour right off the intersection, and then right away about 300 feet it goes to 35 miles an hour between the housing on Corona and 11 going south north. And I said, well, it shouldn't be a real problem because we could take that 55 off so people when they turn onto 11 they can see that it's 35, and then it would just be about a few hundred feet difference, you know. So I don't think it's a big deal to leave it at 35 all the way through instead of having two people come at 55 and they don't slow down at 300 feet because it's 35.
Yeah.
And it didn't make a lot of sense that 55 is right there when it's so close to town, you know. So they want to know if we can take that off. From 35 on, or leave it off completely, so when they turn, they'll see the 35.
Yeah.
And I can make it right however you want to do it.
So you wouldn't necessarily change the speed limit, you just take the sign down so it doesn't look like
Either
it's.
take it down or put a 35 up there, and
Yeah.
just let it be, then it's 35 here and 35 there. It's not gonna cost a lot to change the sign out and put a 35 on it, just leave the post here. So if that's okay with you guys, the concerned citizens want it to be that way, so that they can slow down there.
I would agree.
Okay, I got,
As long as we're talking about signage and changing stuff, is this resolution gonna accomplish what we want it to?
yes.
Do
Yep.
we need a resolution to remove sign?
Technically, you didn't need a resolution to do it after I found out. I called Cliff and Peter and he said technically you wouldn't have had to, but at least if you advertise so people know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it didn't really hurt. So I got located, but once it gets located, I'll have my signs removed and I'll change them around. So, you don't technically need a resolution, but did we advertise it in the paper? Yeah, because we didn't come in after it.
We didn't advertise it, no.
Okay, so you technically don't need this resolution. I can just go ahead and do it.
Probably would be good to have it in our minutes,
I
though.
think it would be good.
It would be good to have a document in the minutes, yes, but you don't technically need a resolution. So if you want to do that.
But we can, but they can if they want to.
Yes.
We have records.
Yes.
Okay.
It'd be awesome to have it in the minutes, so that way you can
Yeah.
always go back to it. Because I will have a stop ahead on each one going north and south, and I'll have the stop sign where it's supposed to be, and we'll take you to
There's a motion by Carlson to remove the two stop signs on County Road 25. There's a second by Zeppel. Is there further discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed say no, motion carries. All right, Pat, we got that.
So would that include that resolution then?
what, you know, one person says you don't need it, and you would prefer to have it?
Well, I think it's a good record to have.
Sure.
Or what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Why not?
All right. Your motion includes resolution 2021-22. Okay.
When we applied for the grant money for bridges again, as you recall, the one up by Rossalt and the one north of town, those two bridges have been granted now. So, you know, that was that lower percentage, hopefully 6 to 7% match that they come out with this new funding, and we put in right away for it by the deadline in April, remember? And so we did, about 31 of us got accepted for bridges out of about 190 some applications, so
So it was just 2 bridges, right?
we just put in for 2 on that.
Because in the paper it said something about Roberts County got 1, and a sentence later said they got 2, so I think it was a misprint there.
We got 2 on that latest stuff.
Yeah, it was just,
And
yeah.
then, so technically we got those, and then also Kerwin and I remember we put in a box culvert on the county line on 27 by Summit here last year. We did sign papers together to do that bridge. And he got accepted for that money also on this program, so we're gonna be doing that box culvert, you know, sometime too. But when the engineering gets done, whatever, we don't know when the timeline is.
And just refresh me, Cliff Everhart said they were gonna get the money to get that project done this year, right?
He says they are, but he says the feds and the state are bucking everything and doing whatever, so he says they got the money, but I talked to him this morning before I came here, and he said he thinks hopefully we can have that done yet this summer, you know, but he don't know what's going on. He's called them twice a week. The BIA hasn't got the money, received it really from the feds and the state, but he's still saying that we're gonna get the money.
Yeah.
So I have that $55,000 left to lock, so, you know, we might be able to take out the same funding for match on this other money, because, you know, I'm just.
Vince is bugging me again on that, he wants
So,
that bridge up.
that's the whole thing, I don't know, so.
Well, I told him last we heard it was a go, so.
If they get the money, it's a go, but he still thinks we got the money, but they haven't technically given it to him yet.
Yeah, all right.
Because they have safety funds and other ones they're trying to get to at the same time, but they haven't got any of that.
Okay.
So that's as far as we go on that. Yeah, so the one in Grant County too, we'll be putting a box in there, so. Okay. Now for the worst news of the day, I'll pass this around.
We're not
Pass those
hearing
around,
bad
give one
news
to Don.
today.
Yeah, come back next week, huh?
Our truck number 4, it's a 2014. It blew up on us last week on the road. And it's got 191,000 miles on it, so it blew up on Jack and was driving on the interstate picking up chips. So I got quotes from Fargo Freightliner, and I got quotes from I-State. And now if you look at the first page, hopefully yours is the same. What do you have on there? 32,000 on the bottom?
42.
Oh, okay. So the second page, the first one you got, this is for a complete brand new engine, is $42,489. And so, if you look on the next page, I have a quote which is called the 3/4 engine, or 3/4 engine. So what it is, a remanned 3/4 engine, you get that, and they'll take a bunch of parts off of our truck that are good, like fuel injectors, pumps, all kinds of stuff that they can use off of our engine on the one can be put on a 3/4 engine. And that cost would be $32,294. So with them two bids with Freightliner, beats out I-State. I-State was way higher with $44,000 just for the 3/4 engine. So it's not even a question whether Freightliner will do it or them. I already figured I got Freightliner's gonna have to do it, but I have to say which one I want to do. So this thing is 2014. We hadn't had no trouble with transmission, other it was getting a little warm on us and stuff, and we changed transmission oil twice because the dipstick got broke. And it was rattling and it got a little moisture, so once we got that going, it was fine. But then all of a sudden, a day later, it's running fine and then the damn engine blew up. So now we gotta make a decision to overhaul and get that engine done.
What's the truck worth? If it was working right now,
Right there, I
Well, the
don't see
whole
it.
problem is these used trucks ain't worth a lot of money, but we cannot not fix it. You know?
Yeah, but I don't know about sticking 40
A new
grand.
truck, a new truck is $116, $100 and some $1,000 for a new truck. There's a bid out there from Transsource, from MAP that we got before, it was 100, I got it on the desk, it was over 100,000. Just over 100 and some thousand, but that's without any equipment, without a truck box, without any snow equipment. So that's just a plain truck. So you have to add all that other stuff on there, you know, after the fact.
so what is it? I mean, just a rough figure, if you threw it all on, what does a new truck cost?
It's $180,000
$180.
for a brand new truck with all the equipment on it.
But we can't take stuff off the old truck and put it on the new truck if we went that route, or
Technically, we could.
I mean, is that what you wouldn't normally do that? I mean, you just sell the truck we have as it is and.
But normally we'd either want to trade that truck off when we get another new truck coming, to get more money and trade with it for another truck probably. Otherwise, it sits there with a nice transmission, everything else is good, and you're just, you know, it's.
Has the transmission worked on it?
The transmission hasn't been worked on this one, it's been worked on the other one before.
I guess just my opinion, I'd like to see what a new truck with nothing on, put your snow equipment on that, find one of the snow equipment that fit on that new truck.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, instead of sticking 40 grand in this.
Yeah, you still gotta use
I'm
probably
just gonna
200,000
see what they'll
miles.
give you for
Well, I
it,
don't
rather than
know,
sets.
like putting the equipment back on that one, how easy that is, like taking our truck box and put it on there and all this stuff too, how much.
I guess
that
just
costs.
ask, I
You
mean,
Whether
see,
we get it in-house or somebody else has to do it.
When you buy a truck for $106,000, there's no box on it, it's just the cab and the frame in the back, that's it?
Exactly.
Cabin chassis.
Just
Yeah.
cab and chassis, so it's 100, and I have it on my desk, the new bid was 100 and some thousand
Well, that's close
dollars.
enough, yeah.
So it's just a little over 100,000, then yeah, you'd have to put all the stuff
I
on
just
it.
think increasing
Then I don't know what the hell you do with the frame with the truck.
I don't
The
know.
tires are all good, everything's
Well,
good.
did we
Unless you
retire-
use it for parts on another truck.
Didn't we retire some payments last year? And then we, of course, about the new grader, but did we still retire more than just,
We kept the trucks and we bought another new one. And all we have is the new Mack truck we paid and then on the blade, them two things we'll pay. So next year I was hoping to trade 2 trucks and get 2 trucks because we have like 5 trucks that need out of the fleet because we're getting that old, see.
All right, so if you plan on doing that next year, maybe we have to leave that up and do it now, because rather than a big repair bill, since we still have issues.
I guess I sure wanna see the numbers
Yeah.
on a new truck versus the old one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not, to be short a truck is worse in the wintertime than it is in the summertime, right?
excuse me?
To be short a truck right now is worse than, be short in the wintertime than it is to be short in summertime, right? Summertime you kinda get by, or if we
We
had
had
more
an
than
extra
you.
truck because we had the water truck that we still did and all that, so. But I guess, yeah. Because we already had it, you know, we had to haul it back from interstate and I had him take it up Fargo this morning thinking we were probably gonna have to fix it. So now I'll just have to call him and tell him to stand by and just hold it.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah,
Then we
that'd be
got-
my thought on it.
You know, they were gonna assess it and say whatever, but right now I'll call him back this morning and tell him just to hold off. Because I do have it in Fargo right now.
Did you get a trade-in when we bought that, when we ordered that new truck? Did you trade anything
Nope,
in?
we bought it straight out.
We bought it straight out.
Yep.
Do they take trade-ins at all?
Well, we found out with the blade we could take trades, so I think with you know, with that new, with buying new equipment, we can put a trade on trucks. Normally.
Well, my question is, if we spend 32 on this truck, will we get 32 back out of it as a truck?
Oh, definitely, because these trucks are pretty solid. I mean, yeah, they're getting old, but that's what I mean. I wanted to trade the other old ones off. We got 3 other ones that need to be traded. These are the newer ones. These 2 are the newer ones.
Because if it's got a blown engine, it's worth
you know,
What?
it's worth nothing with a blown engine.
So I think you gotta repair it and make it roadworthy just to get rid of it.
Well, that's what I just said. If
Yeah.
you don't fix the engine, you can't get rid of it at all.
Right.
You'll just have to use it for parts
Right.
on another truck.
Do these guys, do they sell the ones?
These guys sell Freightliners, yeah, but I don't want a Freightliner. This, I mean, I got a map bid right now from Marshall County's bid, just over 100,000 for the map truck that they have on bid right now, like I was talking,
How long is that good for?
for a year.
Because, you know, sometimes you say, well, they're gonna charge us 32,000, but if they took it and traded, we're gonna fix it themselves, they might be able to fix it themselves for 15.
For half the price,
For
yeah.
20, and so.
Yeah.
We could put a new engine in it and drive it for another 6 years, still, 5 years. But then you're really talking, that's gonna be the next water truck, because it's gonna be so old. But yeah, it's quite the decision I have to make, I understand, but it's not worth it.
Can you get numbers on a new one and figure out what our options are on this one that we have? I mean, in terms of, would they buy it themselves and fix it? Did they give us anything for it? Or like Dennis says, we have to fix it first to sell it? I mean, can we
Yeah, because
get
this being
something to
here
talk
on,
about next week?
that new truck is just a straight bid
We
for a
fix it,
new
we
truck.
better keep it. We protect
Well,
it.
probably at that point, yeah.
Well, it's gonna take you a better part of a year to get your new truck anyway.
Oh, yeah, because
Probably.
everything.
And the repairs on this could start,
Yeah.
what, next week? I mean,
Oh, that'd be going
the
right
the
now.
time element there is something to consider.
Because we just fixed on truck 10 again, and it's just constant with these old Sterlings. We have 3 of them, and we've got so much money in 8 and 10 and 6 right now. 8 and 10 is constant. We just spent more money on that regen again last week. And it's constant, but this is one of our newer trucks, and all this shit, and all of a sudden this newer truck goes.
What
This is
brand-
one of the trucks you gotta
What
have.
brand has the state moved towards? What brand is the state?
They've been getting Max and, I don't know what else they got, I guess. But this is a good bid, state bid, but, or, Marshall County bid, that's what we got the last 2 trucks, and it's good, but when we put new equipment on, like Don said, how much it costs to transfer everything over, we could probably do that and make it come out, you know, fairly reasonable. I'm not sure if that's with the tag, that 100 and some thousand is with the tag, I believe, so, but, and put everything, take everything off of this one and put it on there, and then just use it for parts, well, that's the only thing that's gonna be good for us.
This second bid now, are they gonna take the turbo and the pump and everything off from your engine pad?
No, on the, which one are you
For
talking?
32,000.
Well, that depended on what everything looks like when they do the repair.
So I think we better look at the 42,000.
See, a brand new engine is a brand new engine versus a reman. A reman, they're gonna put the used stuff back on, you know what I mean? If they got a good pump, if we got fuel injectors, everything's good, they're gonna put that on this truck. It's good, that's why the cost is down.
Well, so a brand new motor comes with a 2-year, 200,000 mile warranty,
Yep,
and a remanufactured is the same warranty.
you can get the same warranty up here,
But
you got
you've
2
taken
years,
the
200,000 in 2
Pump and
years if
stuff,
we add up.
putting it on, taking our old pump and putting it on that new engine is what scares me, and
They wouldn't be warranted those then. Just the 3/4.
Certain
how long
ones, yeah,
before our
might
pump
not.
goes the haywire, our
Probably
turbo goes
wouldn't
haywire,
warranty
is what I'm
that, yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah.
I think I'd look at the 42 myself.
You know better than
I
me.
don't know.
To me.
What causes a motor to blow up when we, well, I mean, I'm just gonna ask the question.
Well, he-
Was it properly maintained?
Yep, and Freightliner said with 191,000, there's no way, he said he's gonna get a core for us, and he's gonna save us $8,500 probably on the core, because he said that should have happened with 191,000.
That should not have happened.
He said, how are you guys done? I said, just going down Interstate empty, it went boom. So, he said right away, he's gonna make it right, he's gonna make sure that Freightliner, somebody's gonna do something with that engine to give us. If we don't go with the 3/4 reman, he said, you know, this is what it's gonna cost to drive a new engine.
I guess I'd rather go with the 40, with the other one, instead of taking that old pump and old turbo
Cause I
off.
figured, you know, I said to him, I said, well, we weren't planning on buying anything new until next year on trucks, so I figured that's the way it's gonna be next year, is trade 2 trucks out next year, but if it's somehow you wanna bump
But
it
this
up.
isn't one that we wanted to trade.
No.
There's
No.
2 older ones we
There's
want to
3
get rid
older
of.
ones
Yeah,
that
okay.
want to trade.
And Sterling's, what are they, 07s or something?
2002, I think, that one. Well, they're old. 8 and 10 is actually 2008. Oh, hang on. 2008 is 8 and 10. They're 2008s. Sterlings. And they don't make Sterling anymore.
Well, they were a cheap truck to begin with, right?
Yeah.
They were good trucks in the day. Everybody had Sterling, but they got bought out or something like freight, and then they don't make them anymore. It's just like New Holland or any of those. They just don't make them anymore. But we got 3 of them, and we need to get rid of them. But that's the plan. Is for next year to get a couple trucks. So this can happen anytime, any day. You know, that's just the way it is.
Do you still sample the oil on your?
Yeah, we sample all the oils on the other equipment and stuff. And
But not the trucks?
Tim usually sends them in, yeah.
Oh,
But we've never had any trouble, other than a little bit of transmission trouble on the other one, identical to it. We've had stuff, a little bit of glitches, and we've had stuff fixed, like sensors and different wires and sensors and this and that, but, you know,
So do we even want to look at
they're pretty solid.
a new truck, or just forget about that, just fix this and be
well,
done?
if you do, but
Well, I don't
I'm
know.
of the opinion to get it roadworthy again.
Yeah, you're right. And then you may as well
And
keep it.
then
Well, the thing about, you might, like you, Dennis said, if you want to get a new one, it might be a year down the road.
Yeah, well, I know that last
When
one.
you start looking at that
Yeah.
for next year.
That last one we got, we waited for.
So when I talked to the salesman, he said already if we were gonna order like this last go around, we'd have to do it for the first of the year, and that was before.
The order might be for next year already.
Yeah.
So we were one of the other ones.
If we were gonna be,
So if we're gonna do that and replace this one, then we're gonna have 2 of them, with 2 new ones, that'd be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
Probably
Fix
replace
it.
it for new engine now
A new
and
engine,
then keep it.
a new engine, not the 30, that's what I.
then what about next year, Tom, about getting 1 or 2 next year?
So I was just say, we
Fleet
need
that we
to,
got.
we need to start.
Well, maybe we
pricing
start,
that now.
start ordering that.
We
if
can
we're
start
gonna
ordering
get
for
it next
the
year.
new year, we don't have to pay them, but we need to get them ordered, because they're gonna be around down the road.
Well, we should get some prices on it
Yeah.
anyway.
Like I said, I got this price locked in at $100-some thousand, and all I gotta do is call, the salesman, and if that's still good for a year, all I gotta do is say, hey, we're gonna want to bid on this. Get, on this bid. Which it might go up a little because of the circumstances, but I don't see that, because this is a locked-in bid for a year.
Would you look at anything other than Mac, or just sticking with Mac and Mac only?
Well, I'd rather stick with this Mac, because they're solid jacks, and we, the one that's 5 years old, we just got the other new one, and they're nice, good trucks. So,
I guess just for comparison purposes, I'd like to see what the next truck you would look at would be, and the difference between the Mac and whatever that truck might be. I mean, if it's $30,000 difference, like, well, that's something you gotta look at.
Kenworth Freightliners are a little cheaper, but they make cheaper. And I was glad after we got Western Star versus Freightliner that we got Western Star.
I guess I'd just like to see 2 to bid at.
But yeah, let's see, the bids are out there, state bids, and that's when that Mac got on the bids, and Marshall County bid, and they got a Mac on there last year.
Yeah.
So, they're good trucks, it's just what you want to pay, and what, it's just over 100,000 for the truck, so it's in line with what we've been buying, so.
Again, I'd just like to see 2 to make a comparison, that'd be my personal thought, but.
Yeah, regardless, we're gonna have to have a document to work off of, so you get a,
I will have it, I got it on my desk, how much the new one is.
So fix this, new engine, look at, get 2 trucks, a new truck order for next
For
year.
next year.
Second.
Was that a motion? I was just talking.
you're gonna make the motion for
A new engine will not,
the new engine.
I just don't like taking that old stuff.
What about the
out.
warranty that it comes with, the 2-year, 200,000, so just leave it at that. Otherwise, it's,
$2,000 more for 300, for just that extra.
Well, I guess for $2,000, that'd take the extra year, wouldn't it? An extra 1,000 miles. Or extra year.
100 miles. keep
Next
it
year,
on.
100,000 miles.
What's that?
An extra year and an extra 100,000 miles.
yeah, extra year,
Yeah.
100,000 miles. So you'd have a new engine, you'd have a good warranty.
We don't put that many miles on it.
I mean,
No.
I really
He's
don't
only
know
you.
any more, but
200,000 on
the
it.
turbo goes there.
We do a lot of miles in the
That's
winter and the
Is that
summer,
our
it doesn't
fault?
add up like some of your.
I
Our turbo.
Probably.
Because revenue's just, yeah.
I can't imagine they'd warranty something that they didn't
The
put on.
worst
brand
scenario
new.
would be like a rear end or something go out or a transmission go, at the same time.
That warranty's not gonna cover it. Maybe this is gonna cover it.
This is only covered as engine stuff, so what it covering that?
2-year or 2,000 miles, or what are you talking?
2-year, 200,000, and 3-year, 300,000.
Well, that's what we don't even put on,
No, I was gonna say, there's no use buying more miles because we don't put on that.
See,
No,
part
we
of
need
that,
years.
Yeah. we-
part of that, is what Freightliner is gonna check into with
Like
this.
this, how old is this one?
14.
2014,
So it's 7 years old.
27 years old, going on 8.
And then have 200.
Yeah, 200,000 miles, so yeah, the mileage is not the issue. It's-
Technically, no.
What do we count?
All right. What did you decide on the warranty? You want the 2-year or 3-year?
Don't pay out, do you?
You wanna go with what it comes with?
I think so.
Okay. There's a motion by Zempel to approve the repairs of 42,489. 42,489 on the first page?
Up to 89 cents,
Okay, and 89 cents.
And that's a brand new engine and everything, instead
It's
of
40
That's a
years.
complete new engine dropped in,
putting our old injectors, pretty soon one of our old injectors go and then,
I
oh,
know.
it ain't warranted no more.
And then you said the possibility of that, getting back some money on
Well, I don't
that.
think Tom's got the...
That was only on the other engine. But he still might give us some money on that engine because,
Okay.
he never told me that, but I can ask him. He might get a break on some of that anyway, if we get a core charge, I mean,
What's this number?
500 or something, we might be able to get some credit, I don't know. Have to ask him.
Yeah, how come it's,
$200 difference.
yeah, how come it's 489 down here, 289 up here?
First page.
289, because you look at the back page, I don't know. if you see
Miscellaneous,
it in the back.
$200.
There's some labor and stuff on the back page.
Job
right there.
supplies.
$600 worth of miscellaneous.
Yes, that's why it come different on the front.
Okay.
So, well, yeah, I'll look into it and I'll let you definitely know about that new truck that's on bid and stuff. And then, because it is around 180, 90,000 by the time you put all the equipment on, because the price is next year, so. It's been running around that 180,000 to get a complete truck with snow equipment, so. And everything has gone up and the iron is hard to get and all these other, excuses, so that's what I'll do then. Appreciate that.
We need a second to his motion. Don, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Okay, before you go,
Motion
so
carried.
you can't get tired now for the rest this week, right?
Right, the plant was ready, wanted to go today with the plant, and he said this morning they broke down, we got a bunch of issues now, not the hose. We would have been up by Summit this morning and doing hose, then we were gonna go to Wilmot, start talking about Wilmot, and they were gonna work out north. And now the plants are shut down until further notice.
And get tired so people get you back.
I don't want to put gravel back in them now,
No.
we did that earlier, we need to get these things cleaned out and start patching, but we can't do it now until they crank up.
And what do you think with the state then? We should do with them?
I think you guys need to express, you need a meeting with them and meet in person with the DOT and say, you want something done with this. If you're gonna say that it's just roads to the public, then I guess they can drive on the roads with the public, that's just the way it is, that's what
We'll
we
just
say.
put signs in there for local traffic only then.
I can put signs up, local traffic only, but it won't stop everybody from driving it. It's just gonna be
Ticket the crap out of it, will.
the semis and everything else, they'll still run them, because they got no other way to go. So they're gonna still
Well,
run.
but they do, what you said, is what, 8, 10 miles out of the way,
They
right?
go out of the way and they go around Peter Road and they go around on 4 on the Browns Valley Road on both of them and
That's what we
they
go
go all
on.
the way around and they go and they use them. They're not gonna go around.
Can you put town limits on them or anything?
Well, I can put limits
And
back
then
on,
you
but
can,
there's no,
that can be enforced, right?
Kimmy, but now the Highway patrols, they know we took our weight limits off, now they have to turn around and say, well, we're gonna go put them back on. That's really not fair to the public, because the public technically, yeah, we can do it, but we can keep them over the road trucks, they're gonna come and take the chances anyway. I don't know what to tell you other than the state does that all the time. They start doing their thing and they're gonna put up one detour because that's on 123 south and the rest of it is open. Go whichever way you wanna go, you know what I mean? That's how they got it. We do have a haul road, like I said, on the west from P-Rex.
I'm guessing they're coming from a position of authority, they know what the hell they can do and can't do, and they don't have
Well, that's
to
what
let
they
us.
told me when I called, and they said, we got a detour up. They said it's public road. They said, and I said, well, they're just smashing out public road. They said,
That's just it.
Yeah.
By statute, and you can't close because the local people got, you know, out of the place, you get knocked, and so you can't close it. So
Set aside some money to fix it when they're done, I guess.
that's why if you guys had a meeting with them and sat down and said, as a board, we want something done, otherwise, I don't think, they won't even let it happen.
Well, but I mean, do we have any legal standing there to say that you can't run on our own unless you compensate us for the damage you do them? I guess they're gonna say, we don't have to.
They'll say, I don't know.
And that's what he pretty much told you, right?
yeah.
It's a public road, they can drive any road they
Yeah,
want.
and then,
But doesn't the tribe get, these state things, they get to share?
You said a mouthful there. You said, you're right, Pete. No, that's against me.
that's the state government.
Sovereign nation, I guess we're
That's the
allowed
state
to
government, state government, and federal, that's, you gotta talk to your legislators about that. You can talk them into giving us 3% for the I-20,
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
3% of that bid there, we'll be covered, you know.
That's how it is.
16 million, 17 million, this deal, what do they get off that 3%?
Yeah, I get 3%.
Half million.
I get at least 350 grand.
So then they must be getting more, because all that's got stacked up at the casino there, all that gravel and whatever they can haul in there, they must be charging extra for that, don't you think?
So,
That's what actually putting up the concrete plant, isn't it?
where, yeah, right
Are you in the
behind.
casino there?
Yeah, they're all in there paying rent on behind the casino, if they get that, so it's extra.
That's our little road that they travel to get there, isn't it?
No,
Isn't it?
that's township.
Oh, township, yeah.
Assistant township, roads, they're fixing and keeping it up and spraying it. That's all I got, thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Is that?
Once you got better news, don't come back next
I
week.
know, I didn't want to bring it.
See ya.
Try to help you?
I haven't seen him. Two.
I have,
Stock market's going to hell today too.
Really?
I heard Pat's bad news. Yeah, NASDAQ's down 2.6%, S&P 1.24. Dow 0.6.
I got a feeling the stock market gold is gonna go in a hurry.
Yeah.
It's just say gold and silver, bye.
Hey, are you looking for some more? Not really. Oh, you ready already? You bet. All right. Oh, hey, this is very good. I'll get you what you want. Okay.
There he is.
Morning.
Hey, Tyler.
All good news today?
Shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
That's the most evil laugh I have.
Scared me.
Pretty, should be pretty easy one.
Cute. EOC, they've really picked up their business, haven't they? I mean, for a long while, we didn't hardly get any of them.
Yeah, I think everybody's starting to kind of come back around and fill up there, bringing people in and move people around every couple of weeks.
Huh.
I don't know, any guys, I thought he had, oh, I got it.
The temperature checking machine, did you bring that in?
Nope,
Oh, I thought,
it wasn't me. I mean, it was here when I came in on Thursday or Friday last week.
No, it's
I
today,
saw it.
yeah, okay. When we got that? Works fast, well, you step in front of it, use it?
I can do that there.
Oh, okay, yeah, just like that instantaneously.
All right. Jail count this morning was 58. We're still not housing any juveniles at this time. Not because we don't, just because we don't have any. We have 11 U.S. Marshal Service, 3 for the Department of Corrections. As far as the jail count goes, does anybody have any questions about that? We've been, since kind of taking over, I've worked with Dylan on kind of streamlining the process that they've been using for getting executions done once they've pled up in court, to get that paperwork done so we can get them out and on to over to the pen quicker rather than sitting and taking up space. So we've been kind of doing that and then coordinating that with our other transportations that we have in the county. So we can take 3 or 4 people and drop 3 or 4 people off at a time, and it makes it a lot easier for transportation costs and things like that. So that's something that we've worked on. Old business stuff. I spoke with Pat about the gas tank out at the jail. He had somebody that was coming up last week, and he was going to run the information by them and try to get us some estimates of what it would cost to put something like that in. This week, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, that Pro Q&A training that was part of what the software that Janessa has been up here talking with you guys about. That training has been going on out at the sheriff's office. The Pro Q&A company, as well as Northeast Ambulance, the ambulance service from here, and then some of our dispatchers have been undergoing that training out at the sheriff's office. So, and those have been all-day trainings yesterday, today, and tomorrow yet. So, other old business stuff, we're still looking for a dispatcher. And talking to James this morning, it sounds like we're still looking for 2 or 3 male jailers if possible to add to our staff. He said he has a pretty good count of female jail staff. And so he is looking for a couple more male jailers to kind of round out his staff, especially for the overnight times. And the balance is just important because it's just when we're bringing in people into the jail, we need males to be dealing with males and females to be dealing with females. It just makes the process much more smooth.
Can I just throw this in at that point, and then, is that the reason why he's got so much overtime this last month? Because he's like 60 hours, or is it because he's filling in some of the spots?
That's what a lot of it is. And the shorthandedness is really causing him to have to pick up some of that stuff. Because a lot of it is, some of his staff, or a lot of the staff have families, so for them to pick up the extra time is what he always tries to do first, but having childcare and things like that available, it's really made it hard. And I've really been,
he and I have really been talking about what he needs to do to try to get that time
We come
down.
up short, that's why we wondered, it's just you're shorthanded, he's kind of filling in some of those spots, so.
And then we also had, during that time, we had another incident with an inmate that had to go up to Fargo again.
Okay.
And he ended up spending, nobody could go because they were gonna be stuck up there for 12 hours at a time.
Well, I'm glad he takes the shifts, I mean,
So
honestly, so.
he had to go up there and sit with an inmate in the hospital. Which like I told him is not the best use of his time, especially as the jail administrator, but he takes it on and does it because he, and hopefully as we get some new people in here and we can kind of figure out some better, I know he's worked with the schedule now to try to reduce overtime even more. They're working on a new schedule plan, so hopefully that helps with some of the overtime stuff.
Good enough.
In these cases, are these inmates that are already sentenced, or could they have been bonded?
No, they're being held by a judge until the spot opens up at inmate, or at the mental hospital. So, yeah, we've always looked at that option.
What type of person do you need if you were to have a part-time or a contracted person to do transports? Are they, what kind of training or certification would they have to have? 'Cause
The certification would be pretty minimal. They'd have to go through the TASER certification, because that would be what we would arm them with if they would go on transportations. The rest of the training is something that they can do all through what James has available for them at the jail as part of the corrections training. It's pretty small, and having somebody that, it would be great to have somebody that we could just call and say, hey, we're doing transports today, because that is an area that it causes us to have to add some hours in here and there because somebody's already scheduled for their 40, but now we have an emergency transport or whatever that we have to do, and we're pulling them for an extra 4, 5, 6 hours if it's,
Deputies as well, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
As well as.
Yeah. We've reduced that a lot. The deputies are doing a lot less transportation now, so that's not a cause of very much of their overtime. Occasionally it is when we have a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock and I have something that I'm doing, I'll call them to come in and start their shift an hour early, or something like that. But for the most part, they are not doing near as much transportation. They do transport female prisoners to the Brown County Jail that are on their way to the pen, and that's during their shift time on a Thursday night, early Friday morning. In which case, then I go on call during the time that they.
Would the person have to be 18 or 21 to be 18?
So, yeah. Spread the word. If there's anybody interested, we're more than welcome to have somebody come out and experience what it's like. It's more often than not, I have a feeling that people think it's maybe a lot worse than what it is. People seem to think it's scary out there. It's really not.
It's not a dangerous.
No, we have a good working
shackled
system.
and legs and,
New business stuff, we have an A-Ride class, starting tomorrow. The deputies will be attending an A-Ride class, that'll be down at the Assistant Police Department. It's taught by the South Dakota Highway Patrol. A-Ride stand for Advanced Roadside Impairment Instruction. So it is kind of the looking at standard field sobriety testing, and then what also to be looking for when looking at drivers that are impaired on things other than just alcohol. So marijuana, opioids, fentanyl, cough medicines, methamphetamine, all those kinds of things. So it gives officers the tools to do roadside impairment based on some of the other indicators of other drugs that people might be under the influence of. And that training is free from the state. The Highway Patrol has requirements to put on a certain amount of training throughout the year, and so they're coming up here and taking us all through that. I did give you that other packet that says training information at the top. James had asked me to provide that to you. That is some of the information that he's going to be disseminating to all of his employees in the jail. It has a list there kind of at the bottom of all the trainings that are available to his correction staff to kind of improve the professionalism and the capabilities that our correctional team has. So he's working with his staff on creating a training schedule in time for them to be able to take on some of those trainings to help reduce things like grievances and things like that. So the inmates are more aware of how to use the grievance process, among other things, and just create a safer place inside the jail. In that training, those training programs are provided by the South Dakota Sheriff's Association. Well, we were out at the Sheriff's Association training a couple weeks ago. The jail association, the South Dakota Sheriff's Association is taking part of the jail association and paying those fees for the first year. So this is an opportunity for them to use some of those things to improve their training. Couple other things. I spoke with the city council in Rossall, and we're going to be looking at trying to get somebody up there by June. We are going to be losing 2 deputies in July. One for his wife is having a baby. The other one is doing a month-long training for the guards. And then we are going to lose Deputy Bean for a year starting November for an appointment. He's going to be in Guantanamo Bay.
But they're all coming back.
He's coming back. Yeah, they're all coming back. The other thing, I know I brought it up last week, and so I'd like to kind of continue the conversation about what, as I'm talking with prospective officers coming to our department, and looking at some of the wages around our area, what we can do to bring our wages up to be a little bit more competitive with what some of the other agencies are near to us. Right now, a couple of my concerns are I have 2 deputies that are working part-time in other counties to make ends meet. Both of them have been offered jobs in those places. Another one of our deputies was offered a job over in Marshall County. Another one of our deputies was offered a job in Minnesota. And the lowest of any of those are somewhere in the range of $23.50 an hour. I'm not saying that we need to jump all the way to that, but even comparing us with the city who has a job opening available, their starting wage is $20.65 an hour.
We're at about $16.50.
Yeah, well, that's our starting for an uncertified.
Uncertified, where they go through certified.
Certified is about 17.
About $17.35.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea what you would propose?
Well, I would suggest that we at least at this point get ourselves to the same level where a city PD officer is. Our responsibilities at the sheriff's office are it's substantially more than what, you know, what is required of a city police officer. You know, our jobs are both equally as difficult. They come to work and they go out and go on patrol. We go out and we go on patrol, we serve civil process, we have to deal with, you know, disruptions at the jail. You know, we tend to have to deal with a lot heavier burden than what they have, and we have about half the staff. So, you know, part of what, from my understanding, talking with some of the deputies that are there now, is how it had been being rectified, what the wage discrepancy way of justifying it had been prior to me coming there, was just to give them overtime hours so that they got paid enough. And I'd rather continue to work a schedule similar to what we're doing now, so that officers aren't feeling like they're getting burned out, and then we end up losing them to agencies where they are getting paid $23, $24, $25 an hour. But I know that comes at an expense.
Your officers that are working part-time for other counties, are they getting their full-time in for Roberts County?
Yeah, they're getting their full-time in, and they're getting sometimes 20, 30 hours in at another department.
Really? Wow.
And, you know, my fear there comes to just burning the candle at both ends, because, you know, you start spending more time away from family, and it just is, eventually it will take its toll. I mean, a lot of our guys are young and they're able to do that. They're able to do that now, but that's not something I can expect them to do forever. And then if they were ever to get in trouble or get into some sort of situation in another county, we would lose them with us.
I see the city is starting their uncertified at $19.65 an hour, and they're certified at $20.65. That was the ad.
So it's a dollar
Courier.
raise for becoming certified.
That's the ad this week in the Courier.
I think we need to do something. When I look at this wage scale, and yes, you know, on some of these people, they got time in, but you pay your highway labor foreman more than you do a deputy sheriff. Yeah, I mean, we could go through this. It's just so unfair. Our lead supervisor, it's $20.50 an hour, and yes, he doesn't get any benefits, but and what do we do before we raised, was it the dispatchers?
Jailers and dispatchers, yeah.
A huge raise, was it $1 an hour or something we changed?
Yeah.
You know? We can't lose these guys.
No, exactly.
It just costs us more, and getting untrained, uncertified, sending them off.
And that becomes a challenge for our departments too, is, you know, we just, with our wage being where it is, we're not getting the top of the class from, you know, our local agencies that are training these officers. You know, you look at Lake Area Tech, the officers coming out of Lake Area Tech are going to departments where, you know, they're offering starting wages at $26, $27 an hour. You know, to drive another 50 miles and you know, have a wage that's, you know, $7, $8 less than that, it's, you can't fault them for that. But, you know, the thing is we have, one of my concerns now is we have a really good law enforcement team out there right now. And losing any of them right now would hurt us significantly. And then it's even more to have to start all over in that training phase, all over again with somebody else.
Well, we're obviously receptive, Tyler, into making some improvements on that. And if you could do a little more homework on what it's gonna take, where you'd like to be, how it's going to affect your budget midterm, May through December now, and what the big number is gonna be, where we're at, and where you'd like to see it go.
We're at about 21% of our wage budget for the first quarter.
Okay.
Is where we're at. And, I kind of tried to just do some, I'll do more, but I just did some kind of general comparisons and looking at the sheriff study that came out in 2019 that looks at wages across the counties that put in for the survey. Roberts didn't, but Dade County, the full-time deputy base wage is $41,000, Marshall County's $47,000. The one officer at $21 an hour would be $43,680. So just to give you, and if we're paying, if we are looking at, somebody doing time and a half at that almost $20 an hour, and so upwards of that $30 an hour for 2,080 hours a year is $60,000. So like I said, I'd like to work on getting the overtime down and just getting that base pay up so that our officers are just getting paid for the work that they're doing.
One thing, it may not be in this year's budget, but I believe under that CARES Recovery Act that we're getting, that $2 million, $1 million a year, some of that can go towards wages.
I'm pretty sure that was true.
So I mean, that would be an out maybe to stay in his budget for this year. And next year, we can just.
We'll put it in there.
Yeah. For years, I've looked at Marshall County and Dade County, and what do they do different than, when it comes to equipment or road repairs and that sort of thing? It seems like they have better cash flow than we do, and I'm trying to put my finger on it. I don't know if it's true or not, but what do we have that they don't have? And I think it's the detention center is the only thing I can come down to.
And for their sheriff's department, one of the things that they have that's different is they have countywide law enforcement. So each one of their communities is obligated by contract for a contribution. And I have those numbers in that sheriff's study, so I can bring some of that for you to look at. But that was kind of the motivation behind what we're doing right now in Ross Salt and New Lexington and Corona and all our municipalities, Wilmot, Corona, Summit as well. So because it just helps to cushion that a little bit to have the law enforcement that everybody needs, and without it becoming all back on some taxpayers and not others.
But then it's pretty much a double-edged sword too, because in order to force them to pay into the need for law enforcement, you also have to buy more law enforcement, so.
Right, which is what we're doing right now anyway with having an officer up in Ross Salt and trying to get if we can't get New Lexington and Clare City on board, just to kind of have somebody more designated that area, and the same thing down south. When Gail Ellison was in Marshall County, when he hired an officer, he stuck them in a town and said that that's where you're responsible for it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but do we have a call on hold?
We have an appointment at 11 o'clock. Somebody is calling in, and then again at 11:10.
Are they on hold? Okay.
Well, I don't know if they called in on a conference call, but yeah, the attorney is supposedly calling in at 11 o'clock.
I'll bring you more next week.
Oh, okay, thanks a lot.
Yep. Thanks, Good day.
Right. We also, in answer to one of your things with the other, comparing the other counties, we have to figure how much trust land we have to that we're losing taxes.
Yeah, you figured 90,000 acres.
We have a lot of trust land that we don't have taxes.
That's like Dennis said, it's real.
Yeah, those two factors.
Okay. So Gordon Nielsen had called in, and he's with clients now, so he missed the call, because he was calling in at 11 o'clock. He's got clients, and so he will not be able to call in on the conference call.
Welcome to the Venture Communications Conference Service. Please enter your conference. Administrator has not yet arrived. If you are the administrator,
Because he's in Webster in.
the conference administrator has joined the conference.
Yeah,
There are
Gordon.
one attendee on the conference call.
I think it's necessary.
You need a motion to adjourn our county commission by sample. Can you second that, Tom? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries.
The dispatcher did.
Okay, we call to order the Board of Equalization. Okay, Sherry, sorry we're running late, caller.
So, Gordon Nielsen is up first. He is unable to attend the meeting. He had called in just a little bit ago, and so he's with a client. He's unable to attend at this time. So Gordon did come in. I set up an appointment with him after we had tabled this last week. And he had came in, we had visited, we had gone through all of the criteria that needed to be at hand. And for that, for the ag land on parcel 6129, the east half of the southeast quarter, section 16, 12450, his assessment is 142,477 as it stands. Recommended Board of Equalization. I adjusted the land to the highest and best use, and so I came up with a valuation of 126,983.
And he communicated to you that he was acceptable for that?
Yes, he did. He had said that to me, he had said that to his secretary, who relayed the message just now to.
That wasn't the wetland
him.
piece.
That was not the wetland piece. So then on parcel number 12385, Nielsen Outlot 1 and Government Lot 4 of 15,124.50. This one is the wetland piece, and I also did an adjustment figuring out the highest and best use, and that was going from 50,807 to 29,750.
What a difference.
The difference on that one is that we use the non-ag rate on that one for 26 acres. Good morning, this is Sherry.
Good morning, this is Jim.
All right, Jim, we're just in the middle of, the commissioners were running a little late, so we're just in the middle, so please stay on the line as we finish up with this first appeal. Thank you.
Anything else to add to those two parcels?
I do not have anything else to add.
Board action? Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
And then Gordy, I'm sorry, Gordy was okay with this one as well?
Yes.
Was up with that number?
There's a second by Zempel. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
So, good morning, Jim. I will let
Yeah, did you
everybody,
get my correspondence? I left there yesterday.
yes, I did.
Okay, can I read a brief thing into the record?
First of all, I would like the commissioners to introduce themselves to see who's all in the room with us. And then I would like to give them an
Don't run out of
overview.
time if I
No,
don't get this
Jim, you
done.
have more than 10 minutes. Your time schedule
Oh,
was
okay.
set at 11:10. So let's go on with the introductions, and then I will comment on what we need to comment on, and then I will turn it over to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, so Commissioner Chair, will you start the introductions?
Okay, Dennis Jensen, Chairman.
Doug Carlson.
Faye Johnston?
Tom Burgell.
Tim Zappa.
Don Sadler,
Rick Delory.
Lisa Swope.
Sherry Gamber and Kevin Deitch from the Courier.
Jason.
Or I'm sorry, it's Jason.
Was here.
Oh, he just stepped up. So the property at hand is parcel number 6937, the northeast quarter of section 13, 12750 in Hart Township. And what I will be handing out to the commissioners is just off of the GIS. It's a map of the 160 acres, Jim, is what they are receiving. And I had sent you your time to call in and your, a letter stating, I'm writing this letter to inform you that the Board of Equalization had made a motion to table the appeal until May 4th. Please see the attached information to call in to attend the meeting. I would like for you to visit the office so we can go over the productivity process and to see if there's any reductions that can be made for this property. I would really appreciate that you contact the office so we can set up a time before May 4th meeting. I'm available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Thanks for your cooperation. And then on 4/30, I had seen you in the passing of the basement rotunda, and Jim, you asked me what the 10 minutes was about, and I said that that's the time for your appointment because it was tabled from the previous week. I asked if you would like to come into the office and we could discuss the appeal and talk about the productivity, and you had said no, we would talk about that at the meeting on Tuesday. So with that, we're here today, and I would like
Yeah,
to,
I came yesterday to talk to you about it, and you weren't there, so then I left a written appeal.
yes, and I had an emergency. I had to make a trip down to the lake in the afternoon, so I apologize for
Yeah,
not
no,
being
I
there.
understand that. I'm not, I just want you to put on the record, I did come to your office to discuss it, and then I left a written explanation as to why I am appealing it.
Okay, so then, looking
Is
at,
that acceptable to you? Is that agreeable to you?
let's finish talking about this property at hand, okay?
Yeah, I'm saying, was that agreeable to you, what I said? Is that what I said, was that the truth?
I didn't have a chance to thoroughly read it, so at this point, I'm making no comment on that. So,
No, I'm not talking about that. I actually came to your office to see you, and that I actually was there to discuss it, and that you were not there, and that I left a brief explanation as to why I was appealing it. Is that the truth?
yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get on the record.
Okay, so looking at this picture of our first district GIS, there are some parcels on here, right in there that do not have the best productivity that there is on this property. And so at looking at these little wet spots, unplantable spots right up here, that would be the only way that I could see without actually pinpointing it with Jim to say if those are rocks or what kind of highest and best use those are going to be evaluated at. So with my GIS tools, I drew around these circles, and I came up with the acreage that these little parcels had been going. So they're roughly, give or take my tool if it's not exact, they are within the half-acre circle. This part up here is a 2-acre piece, and this one over here is a half-acre. So I could come up with a 4-acre reduction due to the fact of highest and best use, with that being a non-crop category.
So Sherry,
And
can I
look-
interrupt? You're pointing to 5 different spots within that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes.
Okay, now, okay.
And then taking our actual soils sheet that we have, I found the different soil types that each of those parcels are in, and I brought down that 0.5 acres or that 2-acre piece down to the marshland value of those 4 acres. So the total reduction that I could give at highest and best use would be a reduction of $2,892. So the new assessed value would be at $354,069, which is less the value of the property has decreased from last year on all throughout Roberts County on all crop soils, because the crop soil top dollar through productivity has been decreased from like 3,100 down to 3,3181 this year. Where on the flip side, the non-crop acres on productivity had took a hike from 1,580 to 1,607. So, and those top dollar numbers are not set by me. They are set through the productivity process. And the productivity process falls onto the farmers and ranchers and SDSU and NASS, and they all work together to come up with the productivity. And those are the top dollars for the soils that are in Roberts County. So that would be my recommendation, is to do a decrease to adjust for those 5 little parcels of those 4 acres to a decrease of $2,892 for a total of $354,069. Okay, so Jim, that is what I have about this property, this quarter of land. This is what the appeal process is about, is on this property of land. So I will let you have the floor.
Yeah, do you guys remember how about 3 years ago, there was a problem with the assessment on the farmland in Roberts County? There was a big meeting held down at the deal. Do you guys remember that? According to the Assistant Courier, all of the land in the Assistant School District would be assessed approximately at around 30% of its actual and true value. And in the township I was in, which is sits within the Rossall School District, my property was being assessed at 120% of its actual and true value. Then at that time, at that meeting, they said there would be a correction of this. They said that my properties that all the properties in the school district of Tipperton that were being assessed at 39% of actual value would be raised to comply with the state compliance that by law you have to be 85%. And so now my property was supposed to go down 20%. Plus when all those other properties came onto the total tax base, according to the article, it was such a huge amount of money being assessed on that those properties in Roberts County would all drop approximately 20% as those farmers started to be valued and pay up for more taxes due on their land. And actually, along the way, instead of my property going down, it actually went up 10%. And my taxes went up with it. And so because you had assessed all those properties wrong all those years, I believe that in court, will be able to prove that my property is probably still being assessed wrong. These records are not real available. I'm going to have a judge, actually the state won't give me much on this. I'm actually going to have a judge subpoena the state, and that is another reason I'm appealing this into circuit court. I believe my property should be assessed at approximately 30% less than it is, if it was to be done by state law. Well, I don't know if anybody went up on all these properties and stuff and down on mine. I'm having a hard time getting anybody to give me a bunch of information on this. So that's why I'm appealing this to district court. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Well, if you've already made your decision, I guess,
well, Sherry, at the trial last year, at the hearing there last year, I asked her, do you have any input into the valuation of my property? And she said no. Then, when I get down to Pierre, he says she has all this input into it. I believe Sherry is much more honest when she's under oath than when she's at a meeting like this. If someone wanted to sit down with me for 4 hours, I and Wendy Simler, and we sit down for 4 hours and we discuss all of this, I would be willing to do that before I will go to court. I need to get an explanation as to how this all worked and why it worked and why my property is being assessed as it assessed. And when I went to Pierre and asked the questions, I was not allowed to subpoena Wendy Simler, which was totally illegal. Plus, when I got a transcript of the trial, much of the trial, the questions I had asked had been deleted. I feel there's maybe even some kind of a conspiracy going on. Does anyone have any questions?
I would like the record to show, Jim, this is Sherry talking, that this year's assessment was for the ag land was $356,961. Last year, due to the decrease of the productivity for this year, last year your assessed value was $366,325. And the year before, it was 3,000.
years, all of the farmland in Roberts County in the Assistant School District is being assessed at approximately 30%. How do I know that any of this was straightened out? How do I know my property is? I need to bring in some people to produce evidence showing that I was supposed to go down 10% to 100%. I was being assessed at 20%, 120, according to the newspaper article in the Assistant Courier. And also then it said the mill levy would drop. So actually my property should have went down 40%. Somewhere along in the tax, I think I took you guys to court and won it, that you had went up 10% on all properties in Roberts County. I kind of assumed after I won that you would drop all properties 10%. Yet all the properties, the way I understand it, stayed at that 10% level, higher than what you could legally do even. And these are, if somebody wants to sit down with me a lot more in over 10 minutes, I came to the county commissioners to discuss this with them, and the gentleman down on the end there said, well, I think this is a matter for upstairs, meaning I needed to put it into circuit court. So I think probably maybe that would be, if somebody really is sincere and really wants to give me the explanation of what's going on, I will sit down with them and needed to include Wendy Simler, because I couldn't subpoena her, and I would want her and you and I and all parties under oath, or at least being recorded, and that these are actual and true statements made that represent the trueness of it. There's so much corruption has went on here. To assess farmland, the size that was assessed at 30% for all those years showed that the county was very, very, I don't know what word you want to use. I would think that that almost would be criminal. Actually, I have met with the FBI, and two of them are auditors, and one of them is was a criminal investigator. A short time ago, they said to me to kind of not discuss just too much of what's going on there.
Well, all I can say is Sherry handed out the formula for taxation as it relates to productivity on ag property. And
but in the past, you guys have assessed farmland so illegally, so many millions of dollars for so many years. It actually shows collusion to defraud maybe.
okay, you got a few more minutes to go, Jim. Sherry was on for 10
If
minutes.
anybody has any questions of me, I'm available.
Okay.
Why don't we share, you and I and Wendy Sigler, and maybe one of those FBI guys, we all kind of sit down together in a room and discuss this, or should we wait and go upstairs?
You did the top of the space
Yeah.
Any questions of Jim from the board? Okay. All right. Is there board action to take Sherry's recommendation, decreasing the value of partial number 6937 of $2,892? Do I have that number right, Sherry?
That's what I have.
Okay. Okay. So the new value would be 354,000, is it 59 or 69? 69, okay, $354,069. Is there board action? All right, a motion by Johnson to approve. Is there a second by Carlson? Is there further discussion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Okay, we've got a new value there.
That is all we have. Oh, okay, so that would be the end of, Jim, of your appeal. So if you would like any other, this is what the board had decided on, if you would like to
Mail
go,
a letter on it.
if you'd like to go any further, you have the opportunity to.
Yeah, mail me a letter on it. I just wanted all this on the record today.
Okay,
This is not a frivolous lawsuit. Take my word for it. I am not doing this to harass you people. There is real evidence that's going to be shown, okay?
okay, thank you for calling in.
You all have a good day.
Thank you. We are done with calling, yes. So, Mark Moore is going to be coming in. We have a couple other little things that need to be taken care of on equalization.
Okay. Sherry, has there been any discussion about with the state, commodity prices are at an 8-year record high with corn and soybeans, and is that going to come into effect with
On our productivity, yeah.
productivity for valuations next year? Is there?
I don't know that. What they do is they take out the high and they take out the low out of the 10-year, the Olympic year, and that's why they call it an 8-year Olympic year.
Yeah.
So they take out the high, they take out the low, and they average in between, and that's how, according to that roll of productivity, that sheet I gave you guys, that's how it all falls into place.
Okay.
So, Mark Moon from the treasurer's office, he has 2 freeze-on assessments that were a late entry for him. We would like to see if those could get approved. Mark has a little bit more info on that.
Well, the one that actually was mailed to Pennington County, I'm not sure any more on that, they just sent me copies of what they had. And it is someone that we have had on the program in the past. And they are in need of the assistance. The other one came in after the date, and I did tell them that was up to the board to determine whether or not that would be approved or not, so.
And they qualify for the treasurer's office on his end of the deal. They also qualify on my end of the deal. So they both would be approved upon your decision.
What kind of programs are these? I mean,
It's the freeze-on assessments.
For senior citizens?
for senior citizens, for veterans, or what?
For my side, it's the elderly, yes.
Elderly, okay.
Freeze-on assessment for elderly situations.
Had the second person been on the program before?
Yes.
Okay, so just missed the deadline?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe there was a situation with her children filling out the form or something, and it got sent to the wrong area because she can't fill the form out for herself.
Have there been exceptions made in the past?
I think that,
Board action. Is there a motion to approve these?
I would go with that. Mostly if they've been in bad years this year. I mean, just basing it on the one we did last week and stuff.
It's a motion by Zempel to allow these 2 applicants on the property freeze. Is there a second to that? By Commissioner Vergelt. Any further discussion? All in favor of those motions signify by saying aye. Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Okay.
all right. Well, that would conclude equalization for 2021.
Nothing at 1 o'clock, huh?
No, Don put it on the agenda just in case we needed to have a carryover. So this would conclude the equalization for 2021.
Motion to adjourn equalization. Commissioner Vergelt, second by Carlson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Well, thank you for all your work in your office working on that. Thank you, Mark.
So I have a couple things to talk about as just down in the office.
We're out of equalization though.
Yep.
Okay.
So can I just have that on my behalf?
We're back in the county commission stuff, yeah.
Okay. All right, so our website is up, it is running, and it is open to the public.
Good.
And we have received our first 2 full subscriptions yesterday. So, awesomeness. I mean, when Kim started sending out the agreement form to fill out and everything, the email was blowing up and it was just unbelievable, the response we got. Awesome. They were just very excited about it.
What group are you hearing from? Realtors or auctioneers or?
As of right now, one is a bank and one is a realtor.
Oh, okay.
And these are all gonna be, in the future then, it'd be prorated for this year, then next year everything will go out January 1st, all the.
Right, well,
contracts.
our beginning year is going to start July 1.
Okay, whatever,
Because,
yeah.
you know, it's going to be
They'll all come due at the same time, those.
And so this is the application that is being sent out. So, that is what we had discussed here.
Thank you.
And so everything is out there, it's open to the public for free trial until July 1st, and then at July 1st, everything gets shut down.
1 through 5.
So number of users, you can have 5 email addresses and 5 people can be on there, and that's at $300. That's what we talked about. And then the 6 to 10 users are at $475 for the annual fee, and 11 or more users out of the same business is $7.25. So at this bank, and it's a smaller bank, and that's what they have in their office, and those are the people that need it. They had the 5 people on there. The other bank that is inquiring me has 8 people that want to use it, so then they would be paying the $475 plus the $25 setup fee. The setup fee is for everybody. For the first time use. If so say, like Darren said from First District, at 25, that setup fee, the initial setup fee, if you would say, okay, deadline is June 30th, so you start on July 1st, if you were out a couple months, you probably wouldn't have to do that setup fee because he still has it, but once he takes it off of his system, then he needs to have that setup fee. So if you've missed a whole year, you're gonna have to repay that. If it's just a couple months, he's going to say that the setup fee is not required. So that would be it. I'm very excited. Talking with all the department heads in the office up here at the courthouse. The people that thought they would utilize the open is the auditor's office, the treasurer's office, and the deeds office. The veterans office does not feel she needs to have any of the open information or the security information. And so there in that fact, we talked about that if you have an office in the courthouse, then those 3 or that office will be exempt if you needed it. You wouldn't have to pay, they would just give you the information that they needed. I stressed strong and hard about the password and the username is for office work only, and it stays on the office computers only. It does not go home with you.
Is there any way to monitor that even with a bank? So there isn't.
No, it's there.
So the employee could access the information wherever they have web access?
Yeah. I mean, and that's something that it's under our control. They're paying for the 5 users, and if they want to have 5 users on there, I would say that they're the honor system. I would trust.
Email address.
Oh, yeah.
To do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I see really, and then between Don and Mark, they have set up a special code just for the GIS subscriptions so that they can run a report at the end of the year to see how much income it has generated. So when we go to pay the annual maintenance fee of the GIS, maybe that could be the, the cash in, cash out type stuff, budget type thing. So I do anticipate that this is going to be a very, very useful tool in everybody's toolboxes. So,
Good.
yeah, so it is.
So you've got Kim working on that?
Kim is working on that. Kim has been the right-hand man. Oh man, I can't thank you guys enough for letting me have her because next in May zoning, your commission meeting is going to be extended by about 9:30, 9:45 because we have so much zoning, Board of Adjustments on that, and she has been working her tail off on that and then working on this. So her 80 hours a month I have been utilizing very much so. So with that, Sue Yamarino had stopped in the office and was wondering about summer help because we would be out going out and doing more wing appraisal. This summer we're hitting the northern towns, and if I could hire her again as summer help, I would really appreciate that, and she would be able to start after around May 24th into doing that. And then whatever, if I can squeeze Kim a day out a week to help with reappraisal, I will, but I don't know if I'm going to if the zoning keeps up as like it is.
And this is new construction primarily that she's involved with?
Kim is involved with the new instruction, yes.
And that's what's going to take up so much of the time?
Yes, the building permits and the board, yeah, and she's got a lot of a board of adjustments because we've got a lot of conditional uses for oversized buildings. We've got a lot of, we got a couple variances this time.
Are we under some regulation that we couldn't look at this twice a month instead of just once a month?
I don't think we could, we could have zoning.
Maybe you want to
I'm
consider
not
that.
sure.
Maybe you want to consider that.
And
Look into it.
So it doesn't go
Right.
so long.
Well, when you got a building project and you've got a short window, a construction window like we have, and then all the pressures of, can we get materials or can't we? I mean, if we can get this stuff.
And two, and I think something that the board probably needs to look at as a board of adjustments is that oversized building. I really think we need to take a look at that and really see why we're having all of these board of adjustments on conditional uses for these oversized buildings, because 36 by 48 building is not big enough anymore. I mean, everybody wants to go big or go home, so, and they're willing to pay the $300 to apply for the conditional use permit. But, you know, it's a process that they have to say.
And this is more the Lake District than anything else, isn't it?
It is,
That we're finding
because,
this.
you know, there's no restriction on it in an egg building.
Yeah.
You know, it's the lake property that there is these restrictions, and, you know, the higher campers, the taller, the bigger the camper, the bigger the shed that has to go in it, or whatever the purpose is. But 14, I thought 14 sidewalls was going to be, because we talked about that, 14 sidewalls, because we increased it from 12 to 14, and now they're all coming in at 16, and so. And I don't know, I don't know if we increase to 16, go from 16 to 18, is it going to, are they gonna want 20?
Well, that
Exactly.
second guy that applied for that oversized building, but he was like a commercial guy. He wasn't looking to put his boat and his motorhome in there. He talked about putting commercial equipment in there, right?
Yeah, he wants
That's
to
where
put
do you
his-
really want him down on the lake? I mean,
Well,
But
but in his area, it is if you were gonna do that, that would be the opportune place to put that.
well, yeah, but I mean, to me, the idea is for putting your campers, your boats, your docks, whatever. And if you then open that up to that kind of
it's not a commercial business, not a.
yeah, it's not the right place for a commercial business. No, I don't think so either.
Then you change the zoning, then.
Yeah, and he, I mean, that first one we approved, he was a little bit outside of what our norm was, and I thought that was okay, but this next guy was like bigger and taller and.
You know, it's always a
Right,
maybe.
and that one is coming back next.
I know, sure it is, yeah.
So.
Can we go back to your temporary help in the summertime? I thought that when we decided to hire Kim, that she was gonna stick to doing what she was doing, you were still gonna hire your two, which is what you had in the
I
past, right?
wasn't sure if I
mean,
was able to
and then
hire
when we-
two, or we were just going to have one, and then Kim would step in when possible. But, if I could hire two, that would be it.
Are you advocating two additional, or?
Well, no, the two that we always, the two part-time people that we always got in the summertime, and leave Kim do the job that seems to be
Yeah.
very demanding at this point in time anyhow,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I think we need to get this assessment process done, so if you need two, everything you hire two.
Yeah, that'd be my thought.
I don't want to slow it down because we don't have enough help.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Okay. So, yeah, I will put an ad out for one more person. Thank you.
Have anybody let the last year would come back, or?
I will do a check
Sue,
on
or-
that. I'll do a check on that, because, yeah, she might. That'd be good. And then the last thing I have is, Lisa and I, need to attend, South Dakota Association for Assessing Officers Conference. And that is out in Hot Springs this year. I know. And the reason why it's out there is because we have a rotating executive board, and whomever is the president, that's where the conference is held at their discretion. So I think next year it's coming back this way. I think we have somebody on the east of the state that'll be down in Sioux Falls.
How much is it?
I think it's 2.5.
maybe, or
And
something.
then how many days?
It's Tuesday through Friday.
And you have to go to get certified, do you not?
Yes, we, because of COVID last year, there was no conference was held. And so they postponed everybody's certification if they need that class. And we both need a conference.
Yeah.
What was the timeframe for
When
this?
is,
Huh?
What is the timeframe for this?
May
Oh,
20,
May.
May 25th through the 28th.
So basically, travel time, you're going a whole week.
So, yeah, well, we'll be traveling on Tuesday because we have the reception opening ceremonies are on that night. And then Friday afternoon, we're done.
it's a long hike out there, that's for sure.
That's about as far as you can go.
One and the other.
I know.
Are you gonna run for one of the offices on the
Bring
association?
back the citizen.
They're asking for people to run and
I'm sure they are, yeah.
they have, so whoever is the secretary, vice, and president, those are the rotating.
Ooh, so
Those are the
once you're in one of them, you move up, huh?
Yeah, so every year you move up a branch. And then the treasurer is, that one now stays at, the same person stays there for
Wow.
however long.
Wow.
But yeah, you're only one bracket at a time, so.
Well, there's a motion by Zempel to approve the expenses for the trip, the conference. Is there a second? By Carlson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Lisa's been working on getting all of the process ready to go out on the road. And so I think we're anticipating going out starting on the 7th, June 7th. And then we're done with New Eppington and Clear City within a couple weeks. And then move on to Ross Salt, Beaver, White Rock. Victor. So, and those all will get on, they will all be assessed, we'll all go out and do the review, and they will go on the 2022 assessment payroll.
What about the other towns, they won't get finished this year, like Wilmot and some?
Wilmot and Corona and Summit, those would be next year, unless we have time in August to stop that in. And then I will visit about, because I know some of the board members had talked to me about having an outside firm come in to do the egg buildings, large egg buildings.
That's news to me.
Me too.
I think we talked about what they were, I don't think we were interviewing or something.
Just to see what the cost would be or something like that.
I see.
Just kind of to help out a little bit to get things done and, or whatever. So.
I see, okay.
But anyway, I'll do some research on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on the claims? Is there a motion to pay? By Zempel, second by Vergel. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Don, what do we have left for?
Nothing.
Lots of topics. Is there a motion to adjourn? Johnston, second by Zempel. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you.
Wasn't that a nice surprise to be done for?
Yes.
Thank you, Don.
We don't like $40,000 surprises, do we?
No, that,
We just like to be done. Yeah.
all right. When we get something back from, Larry, what's his face, pretty quick. It's only been 2 weeks, I suppose, but
Yeah,
he said it's been busy, but.
Anything big next week?
Well, your zoning last, what's the date? No,
Oh, it's only been 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks. On the 18th.
still alive.
Yeah, we're still alive.
Should one of the letters that we send out for equalization be certified?
Yeah. I would
Just the
think so.
one you're sending certified? Okay, that's what I was telling her, so she put it on the letters.
He's coming over now.
I did check on that.
Went in the
That
wetland.
stipend.
Yeah, wetland.
You know, what to do with the deputy. We're not, everyone's got to do tax, so.
$20,000 decrease.
Yeah.
Say that you get paid for all of it, you go on from all of it. Increase in budget, one for shoes, like the living sector. That's just wrong.
Criminal activity,
Needs some tweaking.
especially with FBI.
I mean, it's, going back at Rockland County, that was one of the Nobody ever makes them.
Geez, I can just leave one of these in my.
Compared to-
I don't need it to.
You know, nobody's saying.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, see, I learned how to take mine off, you can just kind of pull it off, my hearing went flying, I figured, peel it off my ear, just, you can keep them in place pretty well.
Yeah, I think I said something, Sherry, about before we hired Kim, like we couldn't find out.
Oh,
We interviewed one person who was
it's not even close.
in the campaign, and maybe we'll have to hire somebody to do one of the classes or so.
Kind of took that as gospel.
You're.
Hello.
Hey, are you done for the day or back at one?
We're done.
Okay.
Had enough fun.
At 1 year, we did have an outside firm go up to Clare City.
Oh, really?
And that was when Arden was here.
Fairly expensive.
I can't remember, yeah, it was, but it was.
Dakota Pond and Thrift for all your pond needs. Countryside Inn, assisted living.
And that was when Arden was here.
This live stream is brought to you by Dakota Pond and Thrift for all your pond needs. Countryside Inn, assisted living, and memory care in Rossalt, where your family is our family. First Savings Bank of Sisseton. Use our online banking to save you time. Stilson Service in Sisseton with Marathon Fuels. Tri-State Water in Sisseton for all your water needs. Water softeners and reverse osmosis right here in Sisseton. And, of course, the Sisseton Courier, where we do more than the weekly newspaper. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
But then the thing is, then you're still paying your
Staff.
down, your staff, you
Yeah.
know, so it kind of.
Well, that's my question, is that what else do they have to do?